Imagine walking into an open house, falling in love with the kitchen, the natural light, the backyard, and signing a lease or a mortgage that same week, feeling like you just made the smartest move of your life. Then, 3 months later, you're staring at your bank account, wondering where all your money went. You are not alone. Right now, the average household in the United States spends over 35% of its income on housing. And in cities across Canada and the UK, that number climbs even higher. And that's before you count utilities, maintenance, parking, or the property tax bill that somehow always feels like a surprise. Here's the uncomfortable truth: landlords and mortgage lenders are not your financial advisors. A landlord wants your rent every single month for as long as possible. A bank wants 30 years of interest payments, and neither one is thinking about your retirement account or your emergency fund. Real estate agents are trained to make you feel like a place is the one, like it will disappear if you don't act today. But the person telling you to stretch your budget is the same person collecting a commission based on how much you spend. So let's talk about a rule that actual financial planners use, not the fantasy math real estate agents want you to believe. It's called the 30% rule. Your total housing cost, rent or mortgage combined with property tax and insurance, should not exceed 30% of your gross income. Some experts push it further and recommend 25%, especially if you're trying to build wealth aggressively rather than just get by. People who ignore this and go beyond it have a name in economics. They're called house poor, meaning they look successful from the outside while quietly struggling every single month. But the sticker price of rent or a mortgage payment is only the beginning. You need to think about total cost of occupancy. If you own, you've got property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA fees if you were in a condo, and maintenance costs that average about 1% of the home's value every year. If you rent, you've still got renter's insurance, utilities, and parking in most major cities. All of this combined usually pushes your real monthly cost 30 to 40% higher than the number on the listing. Let's get specific. If someone earns $50,000 a year, their monthly take home after tax is roughly $3,500. Under the 30% rule, their total housing budget is about $1,050 a month. That's a modest apartment, maybe a shared unit, maybe a smaller cities outside the expensive core. It's not glamorous, but it's sustainable. At $75,000 a year, monthly take home is close to $5,100, putting the housing budget around $1,500. Now you're looking at a decent one bedroom in a mid-sized city or a modest starter home in a more affordable region. Still not the trendy downtown loft, but livable and financially safe. At $100,000 a year, take home lands near $6,800 monthly, giving a housing budget of roughly $2,040. This is where people start making their first big mistake. They see they qualify for a bigger mortgage and assume that means they should take it. Qualifying and affording are two completely different things. And at $150,000 a year, take home is about $9,100 monthly, with a housing budget near $2,700. That's enough for a genuinely comfortable home in most markets, but even high earners get trapped here because lifestyle creep convinces them that earning more means they're entitled to spend more on everything, including square footage they don't need. Let me tell you about two co-workers, Jake and Marcus, both earning $75,000 a year at the same company. Jake fell in love with a downtown condo, $2,200 a month, because it was walking distance to everything and felt like he'd made it. Marcus chose a smaller apartment 15 minutes further out for $1,400 a month. That's an $800 difference every single month. Marcus took that difference and invested it in a simple index fund over 10 years, assuming a conservative 7% annual return. That $800 a month grew into more than $138,000. Jake had a great address. Marcus had 6 figures of wealth quietly compounding in the background. Now, someone will say, but I have kids, I need space. Or my job requires me to live close to the city. Those are real considerations, but they're often used to justify overspending far beyond what's actually necessary. A family that needs more space can often find it 30 minutes further out at half the cost. Needing to be near work doesn't mean needing the most expensive building on the block. There's almost always a version of what you need at a fraction of the price, if you're willing to look. Here's something lenders never volunteer. The length and structure of your mortgage matters just as much as the rate. Stretching a mortgage from 25 years to 30 years might lower your monthly payment slightly, but it can add tens of thousands of dollars in extra interest over the life of the loan. That extra decade of payments isn't convenience, it's a wealth transfer straight into the lender's pocket. The real concept underneath all of this is opportunity cost. Every extra dollar you put into housing beyond what you actually need is a dollar that's no longer available to invest, to grow, to compound over the next 20 or 30 years. It's not just a housing decision, it's a decision about the entire trajectory of your financial life. People who build real wealth don't necessarily earn more than everyone else. They just consistently choose the version of a decision that leaves more room for their money to grow. So the next time you're touring a place and falling in love with the natural light and the layout, don't just ask yourself if you can afford it. Ask yourself what else that money could be doing for you over the next 20 years. That single question is often the real difference between building wealth and simply looking like you have it